A man hijacks a plane, gets $200,000 in cash, and jumps out the back of it at night, over freezing wilderness, wearing a business suit and loafers. More than 50 years later, the FBI has investigated over 1,000 suspects. Not one has ever been confirmed. Nobody even knows if he survived the jump. On the afternoon of November 24, 1971, the day before Thanksgiving, a quiet man in a dark suit walked up to the Northwest Orient Airlines counter in Portland, Oregon, and paid cash for a one-way ticket to Seattle. He gave his name as Dan Cooper. Nothing about him stood out. Mid-40s, ordinary build, calm demeanor. He boarded Flight 305, took a seat near the back, lit a cigarette, and ordered a bourbon and soda. Shortly after takeoff, he handed a note to a flight attendant named Florence Schaffner. She assumed it was a phone number and slipped it into her pocket without reading it. Cooper leaned toward her and said quietly, "You'd better look at that note. I have a bomb." The note demanded $200,000 in cash and 4 parachutes to be waiting when the plane landed in Seattle. Schaffner alerted the captain. Cooper showed her the inside of his briefcase. Wires, cylinders, a battery. Enough to look convincing. The airline's president authorized the ransom immediately, and the plane circled Puget Sound for nearly 2 hours while the money and parachutes were gathered. Passengers told only that there was a mechanical delay. When the plane finally landed, Cooper released all 36 passengers and 2 flight attendants in exchange for the money and parachutes, keeping only the flight crew aboard. He ordered the plane refueled and directed it to take off again, heading toward Mexico City, with a planned refueling stop in Reno. Then he made a request that told investigators he knew exactly what he was doing. He instructed the crew to keep the plane's landing gear down, fly under 10,000 feet, and leave the aft stairway at the rear of the aircraft unlocked and lowered during flight. A technical detail about that specific model of Boeing 727 that almost nobody outside the airline industry would have known. This is where a strange robbery became one of the only mysteries the FBI has never solved. Around 8:13 that night, somewhere over the dense forests of southwestern Washington state, in freezing rain and near total darkness, the crew felt the plane's balance shift. Cooper had lowered the aft stairs. Minutes later came a second, smaller shift in pressure. When the plane landed in Reno, agents stormed it. Cooper was gone. The money was gone. One of the 4 parachutes was gone. He had vanished, somewhere between 11 and 18,000 feet up, over some of the most rugged, densely forested terrain in the country. The FBI opened an investigation they called NORJAC, for Northwest Hijacking. Within 5 years, they had considered more than 800 suspects and eliminated all but 24. None were ever confirmed as Cooper. No body was found. No parachute was found. Search teams combed the forest floor for months, with no results. Then, in February of 1980, an 8-year-old boy named Brian Ingram was digging in the sand along the Columbia River, north of Portland, when he uncovered 3 decaying bundles of cash. FBI technicians matched the serial numbers exactly to bills from the ransom. It was the only physical trace of the money ever recovered. A few $1,000s, badly deteriorated, found miles from where investigators believed Cooper had landed. Over the decades, theories multiplied. Some believed Cooper was a former paratrooper or Air Force veteran, given his technical knowledge of the aircraft. Others believed he never survived the jump at all, that the freezing temperatures, high altitude, and unfamiliar terrain made survival almost impossible in ordinary street clothes and loafers, and that his remains simply were never found in country that dense and remote. The FBI officially suspended active investigation into the case in 2016, after 45 years, citing the need to focus resources on cases with greater potential for resolution. It remains, to this day, the only unsolved case of commercial aircraft hijacking in American history. More than 50 years later, we know almost exactly what he did, minute by minute, aboard that plane. What we still don't know is who he actually was, whether he lived through that jump, and where, if anywhere, he spent the rest of his life.